So I have many new faces to this channel, and I just want to thank every single one of you. But I don't know if you guys are a beginner in makeup, you're an expert in makeup, don't know. But if you are a beginner in makeup and you want to know what kind of eyeshadow palettes are beginner friendly, well then this is the video for you. I'm going to be showing you my top 20 beginner friendly eyeshadow palettes. So with that being said, grab a snack, grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's get started. Y'all, I feel like I've been in this position for like the past 5 videos, but here we are again, but it is all okay. So like I said, I have 20 palettes with me that are very beginner friendly if you're just starting out with makeup. Basically, it's the quality, it's blendable, it's workable, etc. Now, I will say there's a mixture of things in here: affordable, high-end, indie. I kind of just wanted to, you know, mix it up a little bit because I don't know what your preferences are, but let's just get started, okay? I'm gonna have this video try not to be that long, but I really do want to go in depth with you guys because, like I said, I have many new faces, and if you're a beginner, I really want to explain to you guys the palettes. So yes, they're in no particular brand order. I'm just gonna go through them. So we're gonna start with the mini Natasha Denona Starlit palette. Now, this palette is a 5-pan palette. This is what she looks like. Very stunning palette, very dirty palette, let's just say that. But what is beginner friendly about this palette is the mattes and shimmers. They're just very, very workable. Actually, I have 2 more Natasha Denona palettes that is going to be in this video. I feel like Natasha Denona overall is very workable. Now, some people may disagree, some people agree. This is all just my opinions also. So if you hear something different, that's why. You know, we all have different preferences. But let me tell you, the mattes, they're very, very blendable, not too pigmented, I guess, and you can always build them up. No patchiness, nothing like that with this palette. The shimmers don't flake too much. They're very impactful, or you can make them subtle if you want. And the color story is more of a neutral color story. So if you're not very comfortable with color yet, we got a neutral palette. There are going to be some neutral palettes, there are going to be some colorful palettes, just due to your guys' preferences. So like I said, stay tuned for the end of the video. But everything about this palette is very nice. And it is a very small palette, so if you don't want to get a huge palette, you can always get this one. She has a lot of minis, actually, like a lot of minis. But this is just the one I have in my collection, and I love it. I use it actually quite often. So yes, definitely beginner friendly. Then we have one from ColourPop. It's the Sweet as Can Be. I actually did use this palette-ish. I just used this shade basically, and then I'll show you what palette I have in my eyes today. Try to do subtle, you know. This palette, now, it may look a little colorful to some people, but trust me, it is very neutral. Basically it's just the blue and yellow, I'd say that, and the pink maybe. Mattes, very, very workable. Shimmers, very workable. I would say this is just a really good beginner friendly palette, and it is affordable. ColourPop is a very affordable brand. As I said, there's a mixture of brands in here due to your preferences. But when I got this palette, I will tell you straight up, I wasn't so sure about the mattes with the sequences in them. I was like hesitant, but y'all, let me tell you, they're outstanding. ColourPop really does a good job. Now, there are ColourPop in my palettes in my collection, but they're not really beginner friendly. ColourPops are hit or miss sometimes with their formula, but this one is really, really nice formula. I know they did restock this palette. Actually, no, I think they restocked the whole entire collection, to be honest. But let me tell you, the shimmers, the mattes, everything, no patchiness. I will tell you though, it's not pigmented. You're going to have to build these colors up for sure, but it's really easy to build up. As I said, very beginner friendly. That's all the palettes I'm going to be showing you. But as I said, I'm going to try to go into depth, and I will be repeating myself straight up. I already know that I'm going to be repeating myself, but as I said, I want to go into depth of why they're beginner friendly. So yeah, we have that palette. And then what is on my eyes today is Sage the Day from ColourPop. This is just everything, you guys. So if you kind of want like a neutral palette with a pop of greens, this would definitely be the palette for you. It's like a subtle type of palette, but we do have a darker matte in here, so you can always darken it up if you want to. It is a very pigmented, not pigmented. It's very subtle, so you do have to build the pigment up, but I really don't mind. Now the shimmers, I will tell you, they're a little subtle too, so I mean, there's nothing wrong about that at all. They're very buildable, they're very beautiful. They do not crease on you, and they are not flaky at all. No fallout. I got no fallout at all, and I don't usually spray my brushes. Sometimes I do if I really want like a wham bam impactful shimmer on my eyelid, but today I don't need one, and this works perfectly. I use the shade, and this shade. And this one actually has a really big dip in it, because I really do love this palette. This was like one of my favorite ColourPop palettes for a very long time, but since then I've accumulated more palettes and my preferences have changed since then. But the mattes, the shimmers, very, very workable. And remember, this is all my opinions. So yes. Next we have the Mandalorian palette from ColourPop. There will be a couple more ColourPops in here. And this is a very grungy tone color story. So if you want a grungy tone color story, you want something affordable, this is the palette to go to. It's just perfect. I will tell you though, it is impactful when you first put it on your eyeballs. So if you don't want to have like a wham bam matte right away, what I do is I would go into the matte, and then I would tap off my brush, and then you're good to go with that. Really no fallout either, to be honest. I've never had fallout with this palette. This duochrome right here, absolutely stunning, very workable. The colors really do go together, so if you're not so sure about the color scheme, trust me, you can make a really easy look with this. I just looked on YouTube actually for the first time for using this palette. I wasn't so sure what to do. Looked on YouTube, turned out amazingly. So yeah. But yeah, just a really nice grungy toned palette. So if you want something grungy, you want something affordable, this is the palette to go to. Then we have another ColourPop palette. It's the new Mood palette. Now this one was very popular back then. Not as popular, you can still get it though. All these palettes, I made sure you can still get your hands on them. Didn't want to get any discontinued palettes, because as I said, I'm showing you palettes that are beginner friendly. I'm pretty sure you would want to pick it up. It's a very beautiful palette. Very, very neutral though, and I'm not too much of a neutral person. Lately I've been into neutrals. I don't know why your girl's into neutrals, she just is. But if you want a neutral palette from ColourPop, you want a 9pan because they're very affordable, this is the one to go to. Shimmers, mattes, everything work perfectly fine. Blendable, no patchiness, nothing like that. We do have some depth in here. We have some lighter shades, so it's not like all just like a dark color story or a very light color story. We have everything in here. Yeah, really, really nice. And then we also have a crease shade right here. So if you want to, like, you know, perhaps you say that you used a darker color, but it was a little too dark, you can always lighten it up with the crease shade right there. So very nice beginner friendly palette. And then next palette is actually a newer palette in my collection, but I have really enjoyed it so far. It's from the Sephora Mega Mix palette collections. It's in Rebellious Rosy Nude. And like I said, this is a very new palette to my collection, but I have actually used it quite a bit. And I actually really think this is beginner friendly. Now, there is a pressed glitter in here. I will tell you, usually beginners don't usually start out with pressed glitters. I wouldn't if I were you. But, I mean, if you want to, I'm not gonna stop you, but it's sometimes hard to work with. You really gotta, like, you know, try new things with pressed glitters to see what works for you. But the mattes in here, oh my goodness, are spectacular. I was really surprised because I've never used Sephora collection palettes before, so I didn't really know what to expect, but this was everything. And it kind of actually reminds me of the new Mood from Huda Beauty, actually. And that one's discontinued, and this is a very affordable palette also. So if you kind of wanted, like, to dupe a high-end palette, this would be the palette for that. Yeah, it's just everything is good. I used the mattes, and I was, like, really surprised because I was like, dang, these are, like, really nice. They worked perfectly. I didn't really have to finick with it at all. Buildable, blendable, everything. Shimmers, no fallout. You can or cannot spray your brush. It's up to you what you want to do with the shimmers, but they work either way. As I said, though, there is a pressed glitter, so just be careful with that. As I said, for beginners, I wouldn't start with the pressed glitter, but if you want to explore, totally can. Just be cautious. Pressed glitters, some can be very gritty, and when they're gritty, they can, like, really hurt to take off your eyes. Woo. I actually have a palette that I will straight up tell you in this video, don't use that pressed glitter, because that, I love pressed glitters, okay? I'm one of the few that loves pressed glitters, but that pressed glitter, holy crap, nah, never, never again. So yes. Now, we do have more of a high-end palette now, and it is the Born This Way, the Natural Nudes from Too Faced. I thought this was discontinued, but I looked on their website, it's actually still available. So, yeah, I was actually really, really happy because as I said, it is a high-end palette, but you can always kind of find it at Marshalls and TJ Maxx sometimes for like half the price that you get it from Too Faced. This is probably one of the best Too Faced qualities they have ever put out. It is a neutral palette, but it's worth it. Y'all, it's just, let me tell you. This was actually the palette that sparked the idea for this video, because I've talked about this palette many times on my channel. I've said how beginner friendly it is. The mattes, the shimmers, everything. It's just really, really nice. And I wish Too Faced would come out with this kind of formula, but they haven't. But it's okay, okay? No shade at all. But you want a Too Faced palette, you want a high-end palette, you want something workable, you want something neutral. This is the go-to. Don't get Urban Decay. Don't get, I don't know. I mean, you can get Urban Decay, but I haven't really liked Urban Decay's formula, but that is the palette to go to for sure. Okay, next we kind of have like a colorful / neutral palette. It is from Sigma. They are an indie brand. They are a little pricey, but not too pricey, I would say. They're a reasonable price. And it's the Alice in Wonderland palette, and this is what she looks like. So I was kind of starting out with makeup. I mean, I'll say not starting out, you know, I was getting more better with makeup when I got this palette, but I wasn't so sure with color quite yet. But y'all, I used this and I was like blown away. I was like, what the heck? This is so easy to use. Because I never used Sigma, so I didn't really know what to expect. Y'all can expect really good things out of this palette for sure. And like I said, there's neutrals right here, but there's some colors right here. So you get a little mixture of both, you know? Yeah. And let me tell you, it is very impactful. I will tell you that. So just be careful. As I said, if there's a shade that's very impactful, all you gotta do is just tap off your brush. That's it. Then you're good to go. No fallout with the shimmers. I don't think so. I don't remember. I know for sure this one maybe has a little bit fallout, but it wasn't bad. You can always just spray your brush, like I said, with some setting spray if you want, if you feel more comfortable with that. This one's very beautiful. This shade's very beautiful. I mean, all the shades are stunning. And you do have some lighter tones. You have some darker tones. It's really everything. So the Alice in Wonderland palette, let me tell you, first Sigma palette I ever got. I actually ranked it my top palette of 2022. And I had like 20 some palettes to rank that year that I used. And this was the top one. So yeah, that says a lot. Okay, next we have Odin's Eye. So I will straight up tell you, Odin's Eye is a hit or miss. With their recent palettes, I guess, for like 2 years. I haven't purchased them for like at least 2 years. So I really can't say about the formula, but this one is still available, and it's the Stone and Rock palette. Y'all know I talk about this one too a lot. I recommend this palette actually if you're gonna ever pick something up from Oden's Eye. I would start out with this palette. Yes, more of a neutral palette, but it's a very beautiful palette and really, really nice quality. The mattes, the shimmers, very, very nice to work with. I have never had a problem with this palette. It's actually my favorite Oden's Eye palette in my collection. Yeah, it's really nice, okay? And now, I will tell you, it is more on the darker side, but we do have a white here, and the white can always lighten up any dark color that you're not just too comfortable with yet. But you could always use the white. That always helps. Like a transition shade or a white always helps with a dark color to lighten it up. But yeah, y'all know I talk about this palette all the time. It is beginner friendly, I kid you not, it really is. It's a really nice Oden's Eye palette, and as I said, I guess Oden's Eye has been a hit or miss, but I haven't really bought anything recent, so I can't really say for sure on that. But you guys, the next palette, and you're gonna be like, isn't that discontinued? No, it was recently just announced, like literally recently, like maybe 4 hours ago. Oden's Eye is coming back out with the Hella palette. This is in collaboration with Angelica Nikvis. Now, I'll straight up tell you though, you can't purchase the palette itself. It is in a bundle. But y'all, don't sleep on this palette. I'm serious. This was my first Oden's Eye palette I ever got. First indie brand palette actually, and it's a stunner. We have some neutral greens, we have some pinky type of tones. It may look intimidating, but trust me, it's not. And I was a beginner in makeup when I got this palette, and I loved it. First time I used it, I was like, oh dang, this is really nice. Everything about it, it's really, really nice. I will tell you though, they are pigmented also, so just, you know, tap off your brush if you don't want too much pigment. But overall, the palettes, I'm just so happy she brought it back, because I kid you not, I love this palette so much. So congrats to Angie also. Yeah, it's just really everything. And as I said, Oden's Eye has been a hit or miss, so, but this is definitely a good hit. Okay, next palette is actually something new from my collection, but I have used it like, what, 6 times now, I think? Yeah, I think 6 times now. I literally just got it. And it's the new Moon palette from ColourPop. Yes, we are going back to ColourPop. This is what it looks like. You guys, this is my top palette, my whole entire collection. Okay, so of course it's gonna be in this video. A little biased, just a little bit. But seriously, it does work though. The mattes, the shimmers. Now, I tell you, there is a pressed glitter, but hear me out on this one. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend pressed glitters when you're starting out with makeup, but this is a beginner-friendly pressed glitter. It's very like, it's like a shimmer, but a pressed glitter. It's, I don't know how to explain it. It's, I don't know. Like, you see that? It's not too gritty, so it's very workable. I love it. Did not hurt when I took it off. And just the color story is very nice. It's neutral color story. So you guys, you know, if you're not too comfortable with color, you got this. I will tell you though, it is more of a darker toned color story, but as I said, you can always lighten it up if you want. Or, well, yes, this one I would say would definitely lighten it up, or this one's very light too. Now, if you don't have a lightened shade, like a transition or a white in a palette, what you can do also is tap your brush. I know that's for like very, like, not to get so much pigment, but that also does help with the lightening up too. So very, very nice palette. Whew. Cannot say enough about how good that palette is. Okay, we got another ColourPop palette, you guys. It's the Stranger Things palette. Y'all know I'm gonna be a little biased on this one. We got the Demogorgon, okay, and then we got the eyeshadows colors. Okay, so y'all are probably like, what am I supposed to do with this palette? The color story? Guys, hear me out. The color story is not too intimidating. The yellow, the pink, this color, very light, so you do have some lighter shades, you do have some darker shades, and to be honest, here it is. You can actually do a quad like this. You can do a quad like this. This is all shimmers, so, you know, you don't need to do a quad like that. But this really does work, I promise you. It works so fantastically. And ColourPop is actually, all their palettes are magnetic, so you can always rearrange the colors. And let me tell you, like I said, it may look intimidating right now, but it's not too bad. And if you like color and it's not intimidating to you, the formula, it's everything. I'm so happy ColourPop didn't do us dirty. Now, there are some pressed glitters. I will tell you that. Pressed glitter, pressed glitter, pressed glitter. You know, I don't know why there's so many pressed glitters in this palette. I don't mind, but some people do. But the formula, it's very workable. So if you are comfortable with color, it's beginner friendly due to the fact that the formula is really nice. So if I do have a colorful palette, and you are comfortable with color, because I will put some colorful palettes, because some people who are beginners do like color still. They're comfortable with color, but they just want a really good formula. These are the formulas. So yes. Okay, next we have the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. Y'all know this was going to be in this video anyways. It's in every single video. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Very beautiful. It's one of Natasha Denona's probably best quality she's ever came out with. Like I said, the Mini Starlet, really nice quality. All of them are really nice quality, but this one really knocks it out of the park. I use this all the time. I kid you not. This was like my favorite palette for a very long time, ranking #1 until this palette came in. That took the #1 spot, but it's still a really nice palette. Don't get me wrong. It's neutral. Now, you may be like, neutral. Yes, there are a pop of colors, but I kid you not, it's seriously mostly neutral. And I never actually come to realize that until like recently. I was like, wait a minute, this is more of a neutral palette. The shimmers though, the shimmers are where it's at. Even the mattes. Now she does have a cream to powder formulas, this one and this one. I would say stay away from those, maybe. I don't really mind them. I don't think they're too hard to use, but some people don't like them. So I would just straight up tell you, caution with those type of formulas, but not bad in my opinion. Okay. Next we have another Natasha Denona palette. It's the Retro palette. And she is absolutely stunning. And here she is. We do have a lighter shade. We have darker shades, so don't need to worry about it being too light, too dark. We do have a cream to powder right here also. I do have a really big dent in that though. Shimmers, the mattes, it works perfectly fine, just like the Yucca palette. Had no problems. You don't really get any fallout. You don't get any patchiness. Blendable. This was like one of my first Natasha Denona palettes, and like one of my first-ish type of high-end palettes. And I did spend the whole money, okay? Your girl, she spent the whole entire $65. Yes, it was $65 at the time. Now things are just like way too expensive, but this was definitely worth it. In my opinion, at least. Very nice, very workable, everything. Okay, next we're getting into Nomad. So we have the American Parks palette from Nomad Cosmetics. Y'all know I've been dying to get this palette, and they finally re-released it after like 3 years. This is what she looks like. Yes, she is colorful, okay? But I said, you know, some people are still comfortable with color. Just need a really good formula. This is the palette to go to. The shimmers, the mattes, they really do work well together. I will tell you though, it is a little bit of a darker palette. I never really come to realize, yeah, you may be like, are these light? They're not as light as you think they would be, but they're not bad either. Don't get me wrong. Not bad at either. They really do work. Just everything about this palette is amazing. As I said, I really wanted this palette for so long. Finally got my hands on it. Did not disappoint at all. Now, for my palette personally, okay, I cannot tell you if you get this palette, it will happen. But mine personally, this shade and this shade do not come out as what they are in the pan. Don't come out like yellow, just comes out neutral. This one, I don't remember, it just doesn't come out green. But the rest are fine. Now, we do have a little bit of putty shades, but I don't really mind putty shades, to be honest, because Nomad does their putty shades pretty well. So yeah, but really do love this palette. Highly recommend it if you're looking for a very colorful palette. And Nomad is extremely affordable also. They aren't like an affordable brand. They're an indie brand, but like $44 for a palette like this, that's a steal. Definitely. Okay, we got another Nomad palette. And it is the Nomad Polar Express palette. Now this one's actually, this one's neutral. It's also colorful. So you get a little bit of both. And better yet, we have a white, we have some lighter shades, we have some darker shades. I will tell you though, this straight up is one of my favorite Nomad palettes in my collection. I know, that's kind of like weird. Don't think this wouldn't be, but it is. It's beautiful. We got a duochrome right here. This gold is everything. This you can also use as actually as a highlighter, she said. The mattes are workable, shimmers. I feel like actually Nomad in general, everything formula-wise is very workable. And this is beginner friendly if you want neutral and you want color also. We got it all in one. So yes, very beautiful palette. You guys thought we were done with Nomad? No, we're not done with Nomad. Okay, I will straight up tell you this is just a chaotic color story, but it's formula that's really beginner friendly. And it's the Cute Peachy and Peachy palette. Now, I know some people didn't like it because of how chaotic it is. It's only chaotic because of the black background. If they did something very, very light, it would look 100 times better. I promise you on that. But the formula, it's everything. We got lighter shades. We got darker shades. The shimmers, really, really nice to work with. The mattes, really nice to work with. I don't use reds, though. Reds look terrible on me. So, I really can't say anything for the reds. So, if you like reds, I'm sorry. I really don't know. Really can't tell you anything about that. But the blues, the greens, the purple, the yellows, it's really everything, to be honest. And as I said, I know it looks really chaotic, but it's really not that chaotic. Now, it is definitely colorful, okay? I'll tell you that. It's for color lovers. But I just felt like they really needed to do a lighter background. That black background did kind of, you know, get a lot of people. It got me, but at the same time, I'm kind of like a person that when I see an eyeshadow palette, I kind of just can see the look already that I'm going to make. So, yes. Oh, you guys, we got one more Nomad palette. Okay. And it's the Nomad Ghost Town USA palette. Actually has a lenticular packaging and ooh. Okay, so mine's very, very well loved. I will tell you straight up. And this is what it looks like. Yeah, very well loved. This was like probably, I don't know. What I say, if you should start out with Nomad Cosmetics. Okay, so for the Polar Express, this one costs $44 and this one costs like $49 or $52. I don't remember. Like I said, things changed. And maybe this costs $49 now. I don't remember. But for a bigger palette, if you want to start with Nomad, this would be the one. Smaller palettes, this one. Oh my gosh. It's literally everything. It's neutral, but we have some crunchy tones here. It is on the cooler side. So if you're not so comfortable with cool tones yet, or they just don't look good on you, maybe not the palette for you. But the shimmers though, hear me out. Buy the palette for the shimmers, because I straight up have 4 pans in 4 shimmers. About to hit 2 more pans. Actually, just kidding. 3 more pans. And I'm really debating whether to repurchase this palette for the shimmers, because the shimmers are so nice and I'm running out of them, okay? But the formula of this one, this really caught my eye, okay? This really made me love Nomad Cosmetics. This wasn't my first palette, okay? I got a palette before this one, but this one was the one I was like, yep, Nomad Cosmetics is definitely the brand for me. Very, very beginner friendly. So yes. Okay, next, we have a palette that you're like, isn't it discontinued? No, it's not discontinued anymore. It's the Wilderness palette from Beauty Bay. Beauty Bay brought this back for the customers, and I'm happy. It is a color pop palette, just straight up tell you. But it's beginner friendly due to the fact that the formula, it's chef's kiss. This is my only Beauty Bay palette I do have, but I kind of want to grab some more. And they're extremely affordable, actually. Like, no, I kid you not, like, affordable. I think this is like $25. But the formula, holy crap, it would feel like it's an indie brand or a high-end formula because it's nice. It doesn't patch, the shimmers don't crease. Yeah, that's why it's beginner friendly. Like I said, it is colorful, but don't use reds, so I can't really say anything on that. But if you, okay, actually, I kid you not, if you do want to get a colorful palette and you're not too sure about what colorful palette to get, I highly recommend starting out with this one. Out of all the colorful palettes that I've shown you so far, this one would be the one I would pick up first. And then lastly, for my 20 palettes that are beginner friendly, it's a ColourPop palette, and it's a mood palette. So let's just, you know, get this out of the way. This shade right here, pressed glitter, worst pressed glitter I've ever used. Super gritty, hurt to take off my eyeballs. So don't use this, okay? Otherwise, everything else, perfect. It's a neutral palette, but kind of colorful palette. It's a jewel tone palette, I'll straight up tell you. But, hear me out. So, ColourPop is affordable, and I've showed you a lot of ColourPop palettes already in this video. If you had to start out with one of ColourPop's formulas, the mega palettes are the way to go. And I'm not trying to have you spend money. This video is not for you to spend money at all. It's just for you to get an idea if you are considering wanting to get a palette. That's it, okay? Yeah, it's everything. It really, really is. Like I said, just don't use that because I don't even like it. Nah. But mega palettes are the way to go to start out, okay? Definitely. They have a lot of mega palettes actually, and they have neutral ones, they have very, very colorful ones. It just really depends on what you like, but for me, this is the way to go. So yes. Alright. Turn around and look at what you see. So you guys, that is it for the video. I come to realize I forgot emoji of the video. I don't know, should I even still do it? Like, are y'all still here? Probably not, but that's okay. I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings. But if you're still here, a star, any type of star emojis that they have, put that down if you're still here. But yeah, you guys, that is it for the video. I just want to thank every single one of you guys for like supporting me. I've gotten a lot of support, and hello everybody that is new here. But yeah, I will be back with a lot more makeup and beauty content. It's Spooktober, so y'all know I'm going to be putting out a lot, okay? But yeah, that is it, and thank you so much, and you guys have a wonderful day, and remember to stay beautiful, stay healthy, and stay safe. Bye!